Welcome back. Today we'll be talking about the basics of CSS. CSS, or cascading style sheets, is a markup language that is used to style a web page. Generally, HTML is used as a page skeleton and holds the page contents. While you can indeed style a page using HTML to a certain extent, the reason being you should always strive to achieve separation of concerns. The concept of separation of concerns means that every single layer of your web page should act independently from the rest, meaning that your HTML is there to hold your content and to hold your content only. And while you can achieve basic styling using HTML, you should always go for cascading style sheets for web page styling, which will allow you at any point of time to switch out your style sheet for a different one and change the entire look of your web page without touching your content. There are three main ways of implementing cascading style sheets onto your web page. One is using inline styling. Inline styling means you declare the style inside of your HTML tag. However, this does not achieve a separation of concerns because it is still embedded inside of your HTML. The second way of doing it is to embed a snippet of styling inside of your HTML content, which also does not achieve a separation of concerns. To achieve a true separation of concerns, all styling must be in a separate file with the extension .css. Your file should be linked within your web page using the link tag in the header section. If you so choose, at any point you can change the reference to a different file, changing the entire look of your web page without touching your content. Let's here create a new style.css. Now the style.css works in the basis of a selector and then a body, and inside of that body you add your properties and you add a value to it. Over here we're changing the background color value of the body selector, so this selects the body and it gets the background color value and it changed it. Because we're using Visual Studio Code, you can control space or command space on the Mac and you'll be able to get all of the different colors. Now notice nothing's changed because our HTML page was not referencing that file. But if we use the link href to reference that file like so, and also tell it what that file actually is by using relation equals style sheet, now that HTML page is linked to that CSS file and it knows to use it as a style sheet. And now if we refresh the page, you see that the style has been applied. Observe the structure of the style sheet. Again, the selector body means that you want to apply this style to the body tag. Inside of it, we're using the background color property and we're changing its value to red. You can also add comments inside of a style sheet, much like you can in Java, by using a backslash star backslash and adding your comments in between. As you can see, Visual Studio Code does a lot of the work for us, and it presents us with named colors. However, you can always use RGB values 0 to 255 for red, same for green, same for blue, and it is all mixed up into a single value. You can use RGBA, which accounts for alpha being your transparency. You can use HS, or hue, saturation, and lightness, HSL. You can always use hex colors as well, which is mostly the standard for web development. No matter what color scheme you choose to use, it will be supported by your development environment. The CSS Zen Garden website is a very good place to exercise separation of concerns. It has an HTML file that does not change. However, it has many different references to separate different CSS files. Changing the CSS file will drastically change the way the page looks while maintaining the HTML contents. This means that at any point of time you can update your entire web page without altering the contents of it, achieving a full separation of concerns. Your CSS styling block can hold multiple different properties and their values. Some of these properties pertain to text, and they include font family, font size, font style, font weight. The reason you might choose font family over just the font property to define a static font is because sometimes certain browsers do not support a certain font, or it does not exist on the operating system. By using the generalized font family, you ensure that if that particular font does not exist, you choose the next closest one. Font size simply pertains to how big the font is on the page. You can either use points as you would in Microsoft Word. You can use pixels to be more precise. You can use EMs. Or you can use the arbitrary value of large, medium, or small. Font style can change your font to be more emphasized, more italic. Font weight can make your font bold. There are many more properties that you can change to affect your font in CSS. You can find reference to them in the links provided on the slides. You can use CSS to align your text on the web page by using text align. Text align works just like align works in Microsoft Word. Left, right, center, or justify. You can choose the text decoration property to change the type of line your text uses. Remember to save your changes and refresh the page in order to see any committed changes. You can use text indent to nudge your text by a certain amount of points. You can use line height in order to set the height between the different lines of your paragraph. You can use line spacing in order to set the spacing between the letters. You can use word spacing in order to set the spacing between different words. You can use text overflow in order to determine what happens to the text when it reaches the end of the line. If it would wrap around or if it would get cut and clipped there. You can change the background color of an element separate from the rest of the body if you so choose. Or you can add a background image. In this case, we're adding a background image to the paragraph element that we have inside of our HTML.